It has been 176 years of combined waiting for two franchises combined, and that is the Cubs and the Indians. But that wait is finally just about to be over as we are on the cusp of Game 7 of the World Series. Welcome back to the Sports Vault, everyone. Jersey Joe Archino back here, and I think it's only fitting when both these teams, it's been 176 years combined since either have won the World Series. It really is only fitting that we get a Game 7 between the two of them to decide it all, and I think really a lot of people at the start of this were saying, I want 7 games, especially if you're an impartial fan in the series, to get a 7th game. I think any time is amazing, but especially in this type of scenario where there's so much riding behind it and that both teams have waited so long to win, I just think it's really writing itself in terms of the lasting impact that the story of this World Series will make. But largely, at the beginning of the World Series, I kind of said the similar type of thing. I had Indians winning it all, and I said I hope it goes 7 games because we're going to enjoy every second of it. And I think largely we really have the fact pattern of this World Series has certainly been interesting. I mean, the Indians come into it and take Game 1. Then you would assume Chicago being able to take Game 2 on the road, then they're going home, that they would really be able to capitalize off of that momentum. But it kind of was quite the opposite, where they do steal Game 2 on the road, but then Cleveland does a lot of work at Wrigley Field. And then they put themselves in tremendous position, and now we kind of see it's kind of shifted to a little bit of a different course. Now it seems like going into Game 7, the Cubs' bats have awoken, and the momentum has clearly shifted a bit to their side. But I think all that stuff kind of goes out the window in a Game 7 type scenario. There's so much riding behind it, momentum, no matter what it is. There's just some things that are harder to explain than others, and I think the feeling around a Game 7 is one of those very things. These guys are kind of tired. They've been going back and forth a lot. I mean, there's been so much energy spent. The guys just need to put together one last burst to get it done. And look, I picked the Indians at the beginning of the series, so I'm not going to deviate from that now. But I think clearly I'm not feeling as strongly about that pick now. And again, it's kind of because of certainly the Cubs, their bats have reawoken, and they do really seem to have that momentum coming into this all-important game. But Kluber on the mound for the Indians has to give you a little bit more of a vote of confidence. The Indians putting their best back up on top of the mound, and this is just great. I mean, there's no other way around it. I mean, all day, all we're going to be waiting for is for the moment for the game to begin. But I think when it's all said and done, the narratives for both teams, they kind of do write themselves. And it's been easier to fall in love with the Cubs storyline because it's been since 1908, since they won their last World Series. And that is an unbelievable amount of time. I mean, we've had 2 world wars past then. You name it, there's been so many significant events that have happened since that time. So I think because of that, it's much easier to fall in love with the Cubs storyline of trying to capture a title. But on the other hand, with the Indians, I think it's almost as compelling. I mean, this is a sports city that has not had a winner in so long. The Cavaliers do it their own way this past NBA season. They capitalized coming back 3-1 against the Warriors, and the way that they did it was just unbelievable. And I think now you look at the Cubs and they're kind of doing the same thing to Cleveland that Cleveland just saw one of their own teams do this summer. I mean, it would be almost the ultimate irony for the Cavaliers to come back from being down 3-1 against the Warriors and win the NBA title, and then for Cleveland's baseball team to get into the World Series, go 7 games, be up 3-1, and then lose that series. So I think Cleveland fans are certainly a little bit worried about the irony of that, but I think no matter how you cut it, especially if you're an impartial fan, it's really been a rewarding one. Definitely a much more rewarding World Series than we've had the past couple seasons, because, I mean, you have youth across both these teams. You have teams who haven't won in a while. So I think certainly a lot of those things play into this and really have helped it out a lot. But there's not a whole lot you can say. I'm still going with the Indians. I think the momentum clearly is still on Chicago's side. But it's going to be an incredible experience that I think no matter what level you are of a baseball fan, you just have to tune in and catch it and just be along for the ride. But until we have a winner, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino. And I'll catch everybody after Game 7.